Let's show another one, and I'll just tell them about it. Oh, I know, the transport, taking the woman to heaven. When you die and you step out of this body, I think you just had it. That was, the other one was Ramey. The other one you showed with the woman, that's a place in heaven where you get to stand in, it's called the Hall of Nations, and you stand in front of these monitors and look in there, and you'll see what you would look like if you had been born in another ethnic group. It's fun. Yeah, you can. And I actually got to do that. It was crazy. But this woman was 96, I believe, Mrs. Mack. She was 96, and you have to think, now sometimes the pictures squeeze a little bit, but still, these are her guardian angels. She had two. And this is a transport from heaven, those bright lights underneath it. Many times when people say, I saw a light and it left, it was a transport coming from them, but then God called it back. For maybe somebody was, I don't know what went on, but God either decided to have them brought later, or somebody was declaring over them that he couldn't resist the call of their heart or cry of their heart, or he wanted them to have a glimpse, and that was all, and then he let them remain. But this woman was going to go home. She was 96. Her name was Mrs. Mack. I didn't know very much about her, but I did get to see her leave. I've seen many people leave and go to heaven. Sometimes they're in chariots of fire, sometimes all kinds of transports. Yes, some look like UFOs. Not the alien ships, because there are no aliens, but they have something that's so modern and high-tech looking. They look like, I've even seen children going, like boys, 8 and 9 and 10-year-old boys go in a biplane. And they put a leather helmet on, and their angel flies them up through the universe and up to heaven. So there's many different ways. This was a transport, and the steps come, the doors open, you can't see doors, they just open, and steps are suspended in air, then you go up into this transport, and the ones who pilot them are people who had a job on the earth in long-distance transport or tour guides. That was your job on the earth. You get to take these because you are a tour guide of heaven, and you talk about heaven all the way back to heaven on this transport here. And it's amazing how God chooses things that we did in this life, and he still uses them when you go to heaven. And so she was going home to heaven. She'd been married several times and outlived her husbands, and she had a miscarriage so long ago that she didn't never know if she had one or not. She thought she might have, but she didn't know. But I was shown a little girl, 5 years old, sitting on her step of her mansion waiting for her. And this woman had, when she was in her 90s, she had white hair, cut really short. She has beautiful red hair now. She's in her 20s. She looks like she's in her 20s. And when she got home to heaven, she was going to meet her daughter for the first time. So let's switch real quick. I don't think book 2 illustrations are in there. I'll have to wait when I come back. When we do this again, I'll show you some book 2 illustrations. Let's show some of the angels to them really quick, because I want to end on time. Let's go ahead and show some of the hosts. I think you can go to, I think there's one called The Unseen, a folder. Is Margaret up there helping? She must be. I have over 100 pictures of the host of heaven. Very clearly seen. Now, I don't know if my flash drive is going to work. It's just a pretty pathetic one. It's not working. Okay, I'm going to tell you, there you go. I outlined that one. Do you see the outline? Do you see that dark area? Oh, thank you. That's his chin with his beard. His cheek is very white. And that stuff coming on his face is the dark glory. All that stuff to the left of him looks like peacock feathers. You see it? If you saw it in person, it would be purple, blues, and you could even see some of the eyes, like in the peacock feathers, but they're not. They're some of the eyes in the living creatures. The dark glory or the dark clouds that God wraps himself in looks like that. It's like a million peacock feathers, but in a dark, like a cloud. And that's what that is. It's called the dark glory. This is a Zoe. See the eyes in his chest? Whoever's got that flash drive, point to his chest. Those are eyes all across his chest. Do it real slow. Across, like to the right. There you go. Those are all eyes in his chest. And that's his face was a profile. He's got a crown on him with part of a piece. I don't know what it is. Part of a garment or something on his head, and his wings are stretched out. And he's flying back into this dark glory. We had an encounter. My whole staff was with me. Well, my intercessors were with me. And we were going down to Florida at 4 in the afternoon when it was bright as day. All of a sudden, dark clouds moved in and a portal opened. We have an open portal from heaven where you can see lions looking down because of the royal guard. This is it right here. And see those faces up at the top, right inside the top part of that? Like the very edge of the opening, at the top of the edge of that opening, there are lions. Well, that's a big one that's already come in, but there's some that are still up inside. You can just see like an outline of them. You see it looks like a heart. That portal, this is a real portal to heaven. You're looking up into heaven. And all up at the top of that part of that heart up there, not that part, the inside of the image. There you go. Those are lions' faces right there. You see like an outline of them. And there are also many, many of them around it. And that opened up, and then a being dropped his face right down in the middle of that. He filled the whole sky. He was actually the guardian angel over the state of Florida. There he is. And that dark stuff is his hair. He's looking down like this. And all that dark is his hair. And then you can see his nose, bridge of his nose, his eye. There's his eye, the bridge of his nose. And then below that a mustache, and then his beard. Does anyone see him? Let me see your hands. And that's not Jesus, although he looks pretty similar. And then if you look below where his face is, to the right, you see the eyes of a lion, the head of a lion hidden in the glory. There's an eye, and then across from that is the other eye right there, and then his muzzle in the middle. It's kind of hard to see that. But the next picture we're going to show you, you will see both of those beings, but they're doing something different. He, this guardian angel, picked his head up and turned it and blew the breath of God out of his mouth, and the lion went up behind him. See the angel in the middle. See his eyes, his forehead, his nose bridge, and that white stuff is coming out of his mouth. That's the breath of God. That's his chin underneath him. How many people see him? Let me see your hands. Right up above him is that lion. Right where the angels, there's an eye, and across from there is the other eye. And then the muzzle comes straight down from there. How many people see the lion? Say amen. Amen. So this is a real encounter. This is not something that we did in Photoshop or anything. This is a real picture. And there's many other lions, which we can't see right now, hidden on the right side of that picture. I'm trying to help you by doing motions. Yeah, there's eyes, layers of eyes in there, but that is that same angel, and he was releasing the breath of God over the state of Florida. For whatever reason, God wanted to do that. And then the last picture was the first one you saw. That was a whole different being. It wasn't that one. It was a whole different being that was leaving to go back up to heaven in the dark glory. And then I want to show Rex. I won't miss showing Rex. Rex is the commander of the Royal Guard. He's over the whole tribe of angels. How many people can see that? Without the laser. You're looking at a profile. His wings come from his neck. A wing from this side and a wing from this side out of his neck. He looks like a lion. Can you see him? He's got this long mustache and a very pointed beard. And on the end of his beard is an eye. And that deep, dark rift, you see, with the deep, deep blue, that is a rift. It's an opening, it's a different kind of a portal that he came out of into the physical realm. And my husband saw him before I did when he first was coming in. When a spiritual being comes into the physical realm, they get stretched out as they're traveling through. And when they hit and totally enter into the physical realm, then they become visible. So that's not a cloud. That is an actual spiritual being in his spiritual body that God is allowing you to see. He has a scroll in his hand, if you can see down that far, like below his chin. Right below his chin, there's a scroll, and it has a face. And you can see his hand holding it. That scroll's name is Justice, because he's bringing justice to the body of Christ in this time. Isn't that powerful? I was grateful God let my husband see it. But I actually have 4 pictures of him. I have a close-up. You can see eyes in the side of his face. There's eyes in his face. He's from there you go. See all the eyes up between his wings right there? There's like a whole row of them between those 2 white things are wings from his neck. He actually has 2 eyes. He has one here and one here. He has eyes on the side of his face, right near his eye. Those are all eyes, those round things up there, but also on the side of his face. You can see the eye on the end of his beard if you look closely, right there. Is that awesome? These beings are being released to this earth to war on our behalf. And they're fierce. They're not supposed to look pretty. Okay, they're not sent here to impress you with their beauty. They're sent here to defend you because they're dangerous. They were created to fight in war. That is their number one, their primary thing that they're going to do. I don't know what they'll do through eternity. Or maybe play golf, probably not. I do know that their number one thing they do is to war, and they were always created to fight for us, not to defend heaven.